Chaz, whatever. I can't think. Chad Zuma. Chad Zuma. Oh, I did hear about that. Oh, I forgot. Oh, I'm excited. Yeah, I did hear. Oh, yeah. I forgot you entered the Dabbleverse. Yeah. What's the Dabbleverse exactly? Rich Voss is in the Dabbleverse. How happy are you? So wait, the Dabbleverse. And I heard the name Chad Zumach, and I get very excited. So the Dabbleverse is. Remember Stuttering John? Sure. Oh, Howard Stern show. Yeah. So Stuttering John has created. There's a universe that is centered all around people that hate him, Stuttering John, and making fun of Stuttering John, and like monitoring his show and watching it all the time. And it's called the Dabbleverse. And there's a group of people that like it's like the Bravoverse. Like they follow the Dabbleverse, like it's their. Real Housewives or whatever. Like it goes so deep. Why don't they like John? There's new stuff every day. Like they make videos of him blowing snot out of his nose and stuff. But some people do like John. I mean, there's some people that are pro John. There's some people that are anti John. Yeah, I love John. So careful. I probably love half the people who hate him too. So Chad goes, I'm working some club on Twitter. Stuttering John says, come on my podcast and plug it. Yeah. And I wrote, I thought you two were enemies. Then again, I don't get involved in middle drama. He wrote, it goes, Chad Zumach says, I'm doing this show. Stut Joe says, come on my show to promote it. Chad Zumach says, when? Rich Voss just out of nowhere just pops out of a bush and replies, I thought you two were enemies. I can't keep up with the middle drama. Just calling them both middles. So then John goes nuts, right? He's like, you fuck you. And he's like, he's putting up pictures of where he had. I didn't even know it was a comic. Look at that. Okay, so Stuttering John responds, middle, I headlined all the Improv's Laugh Factories and Punchline. On Tuesdays. He called me a hack. I'm anything but a hack. I also love like the idea of like you call somebody a middle and they come back at you with facts. Here are places that I have headlined. You are wrong. So then... But he gets offended. That's why they call it the Dabbleverse. Holy fuck. Because somebody accused him of dabbling in stand-up, and he got offended. They go, you dabble in stand-up. And he goes, dabble? I've been headlining. I don't dabble. I'm a stand-up. Instead of just realizing that this is the way Voss teases every comic. Yeah. Voss is like this. If I tweeted something, Voss would have said, I don't get involved with middle drama. He would have said that to me. He would have said it to any comic he knows. Right. Chad had no problem. He knew that because he's sitting back going, what the fuck? So then this stuttering guy. This man Rich Voss coined him a middle. That's what Voss does. Stuttering John. Yeah. I said, get me coffee. Most MCs on the road, when I'm leaving at the end, I go, do you have my number? They go, no. And I go, good, and walk away. All right. To the MC, whatever. I mean, this is Voss. I've told you before. I was hanging out with him at the Stanford, New York Comedy Club. And there's a comedy club photographer in the room. He doesn't know Rich. He's not a comic. He goes, hey, do you guys mind if I shoot you for just a couple minutes? And instantly Voss looks at the photographer and he goes, I hope you shoot yourself. And the photographer goes, what? Don't be a comic if you're that thin-skinned. What the fuck? I'm sick of... And Bonnie and I talk about it all the time. They're all a bunch of fucking babies. Right. What the fuck? Go work at Apple. Right, so he's got multiple responses to this. So, multiple. He's putting up there. Then, in 2001... 9/11. Oh yeah, I remember. He was doing some fundraiser, but I think they were getting paid at like Trump Plaza or and it was him, I think, Florentine and Modi. Good for them. So he threw me on it last minute. Or do you want to do it? So I canceled that week. I had a gig that was or wasn't going to do it because of 9/11, or I just got more money.
Let's be honest. That's
probably
what
more.
You just didn't want to make people feel worse.
Yes.
Yeah, they already suffered through.
Yeah, there's been one disaster. We don't need a larger one.
Right, we can't have another attack on our
because
homeland.
you might know this other podcast. So I cancel it. He's bringing it up from 2001. And Voss
Like now, like 23 years later.
Yes.
That's great.
He brought it up on his podcast.
That's great.
So Shuli texts me. He goes, "You want to come on and talk?"
By the way, Shuli's deep in the Dabbleverse.
Yeah.
This is his whole bread and butter.
I love Shuli too.
He's created an industry out of it. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Shuli. I've worked with him. I put him on when we do the theater show.
Yeah.
And he gave me a ride home. Shuli with this guy who was going 90 miles an hour on back roads. Anyhow, it's scary. I go, "Who the fuck?" But so I go, I am not coming on. I'm just not getting involved in this drama. I made one tweet, and I even tweeted to John, "Hey, I was joking, loosen up." Then he writes back to me, "LOL, I just saw this." Right after he went on his podcast and Now there's these other guys that do a podcast, and I'm sure they trash me and Bonnie. I think I heard they trash. It's called Who Is This Podcast?
Who are these podcasts?
Yeah.
Carl. Yeah, he's very funny.
Yeah, they're deep in the Dabbleverse.
Yeah, he's funny.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm sure they trash, but they did the whole show or all of it on there, and the guy is good. I said this on my podcast.
Yeah.
Carl, he's funny.
The guy, is he a comic?
I don't know if he does stand-up. He is a funny broadcaster, though.
Well, he had a Comic-Con, and they did the whole thing, and a lot of people don't like this Stuttering John for some reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he really reviewed it. Like, I was really pro this guy because he was saying nice things about me.
You like it when people are on
Sure.
Yeah.
He was saying nice things. But I think someone told me he trashed me and Bonnie, said just a bickering old couple doing a pie. And I'm sure that's...
I mean, not an untrue description.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's true. So they reviewed, and I'm like, this whole world. And then Chad texts me and goes, "Stuttering John wants you to come on his podcast because he's still mad that you canceled him." I go...
On 9/11.
Yeah.
I
go, so... No. Right? Like, why would I go on and talk about this?
You don't want to go deeper into
I don't go deeper, and this is it. But it's kind of funny because I talked about it on our podcast that'll come out Friday.
Oh,
but
so
you
now you're
guys
in.
get the original scoop.
We get the
exclusive.
The exclusive, yeah.
Wow.
What started the whole thing with John, though? Like, why don't people like him? Like, what? I don't know what started the whole thing.
I think... I don't exactly know, like, because I dip in and dip out. Like, I was big in the Chad Zumach catalytic converter drama. Like, I
What
jump
was
in
that?
and jump out.
What was that? He stole a catalytic
It
converter?
was when he pretended that Anthony punched him in the face, and he was doing a bit or something. Like, because Anthony, or Anthony's fan, he said, punched him in the face, but then it turned out he was not telling the truth, but he said he was doing a bit, but Anthony accused him of trying to steal catalytic converters. It was a whole thing. So
Why?
So
Where would he get the wrenches from?
I don't know. But I don't know how it really started with John, but I think like a couple people started making fun of him, and then he got sensitive about it, and then a lot of other people realized like, oh, there's this whole kind of cottage industry where we can just like be a part of this, make fun of it, keep it going, and everybody just started jumping on board.
Oh, okay.
You know
But
what I mean?
he's got to have his fans that...
I think so.
John's got to have a fan or two that fight back, right?
I think so. And sometimes people try to jump into the battle, but they're not really
I'm
ready
watching,
for it, you know?
Someone sent me a video of him doing his podcast, trashing me. The guy's down in beers, or...
He likes to drink.
He does?
Stuttering John. On the podcast, I don't know. I think so, yeah.
Oh, maybe on the podcast. I don't know him personally at all. I don't think I ever... Maybe I met him once in my life in 2000...
Well, it wasn't in 2001 because you canceled on him.
Yeah, so it might have been before that one.
Did you not care about 9/11?
No, you didn't.
You didn't care about that?
Voss felt that there were 19 lives to grieve.
Oh, I know.
All right, so go listen to the rest on Jim and Sam. So they wonder where all this started. I think I can make an argument that technically I started all this, considering Stuttering John's first YouTube video was literally my video talking about Stuttering John confronting Shuli. And he just took my video and uploaded it to his channel. And then I helped Stuttering John start his channel. Then I was the first one to trash Stuttering John. Then I got sidetracked with a lawsuit and stuff. But then I kept in here and there, went on Eliza Jordana's show. Went and talked to John there. That was awkward for John. Another destruction I had to do live of somebody. But, I mean, now is Rich Voss involved in the Dabbleverse with who are these podcasts and Chad and Kevin Brennan and I don't know, is Steel Toe Guy still in that beef? I don't know what's happening there. Sam knows all about it. Jim knows nothing about any of this. But hilarious now that Voss might get involved in this world, and he probably should maybe get his views up. Shuli has completely taken over the Dabbleverse, it seems, and which I'm glad he finally followed my advice, because when Shuli first came to YouTube, I was telling him, you got to stop that. Oh, I'm just Shuli, the guy from the Howard Stern show, and start going in on John, and he did, which was a smart move and a good move, and then has allowed a lot of content since. But I just love the fact that Jim and Sam talked about all this stuff I watched. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.